I was walking home from class on, I forget, Thursday or Friday. This was something else I was going to bring up, but I totally forgot about it. Um, but I was walking home from class, and there was like a group of like two or three people behind me who were walking with me because they lived in the same building, but I didn't know that they were just people behind me. But they were talking about like what they were going to do after they graduated, I think, or like during the summer or something. But they were talking about like internships and jobs and shit at first, and I was like, I don't really care. But when I really keyed into it was uh one of them asked the other one, like, were you serious about what you said last night about the incubator thing? And like they talked and they like suddenly started going in on this whole like we should all just chip in and buy a house together and just every day, like 9 to 5, we just get up and we brainstorm about what we're gonna do. We could make so much money. We literally couldn't fail. And like they were
Yeah.
just for like a solid 3 blocks, they just talked about how their incubator idea would be amazing, and there's no way they could like lose money doing this. Like they would be guaranteed to not fail.
To incubate chicken eggs.
Well, an idea.
Oh, okay. So their idea was to have a house and call it the incubator or something like bullshit like that.
Well, no, they were trying to do like like what they were doing in the first season of Silicon Valley, where like you get
Right.
a house for people to live and work out of as they create an idea and then sell it to some company, basically.
Okay, so they're going in with no idea. With the idea to
Yes.
make an idea.
Yes, with the idea of let's get a house and then find an idea and then sell it to somebody. And they like had this whole 3 block long conversation about how like we couldn't possibly fail doing this. And the whole time I was like, one, this is an insane idea. Like what for the first thing that came to mind was like this is the yuppie millennial version of let's start a band or let's start a bar is let's get a house and have an incubator.
Well, it's more like let's start a startup.
It's basically what it is, yeah. Except for they seem very unattached to it. It's let's do a startup, except for
We just come up with the
they're
idea and then sell it because
yeah.
that
Let's start a
works.
startup and then sell out as fast as possible. Basically, a startup wherein they create one thing that some company wants, sell it, and then go get an actual job after that. I assume was their idea.
I wonder if they're aware that like most startups fail almost immediately.
I feel like no. It did start to like in the back of my mind. I was like, I wonder what they quantify or like what their level is for we've succeeded at the incubator idea. Because like yeah, they're probably not going to make millions of dollars each, but like if at the end of 2 to 3 years of doing that, they each walked away with like $50,000 or $100,000, like I'd say that was moderately successful.
It,
Especially if you could turn that into like apply to a job and be like, look, I did this thing by myself and I brought something to market and sold it for, you know, however much money.
it's the Cartman idea of startup, cash in, sell out, bro down.
Exactly, yeah.
Uh, Unlike your friends, or not, they're not really fucking friends, whoever they fucking
The
are.
people, yeah, the
Yeah.
people behind me.
See, they don't have the motivation. They don't have the willpower to actually work. Unlike our girls in Azokin, who always put in the work 24/8, even
Yeah,
outside of school.
48/7.
48/7, exactly. Yeah,
That was the demand in the first of the 2 episodes we watched, right? Was she had to work 48 hours a day?
um, no, that was at the last. That was right before they had to show off their animation.
Okay.
Because now it's a completely new project. So they're starting from the bottom up. They've got 98 days until the culture festival, where they're creating a short little film for the Robot Club, who is like the star of this year's culture festival.
Hmm.
Our first episode for this arc is introducing, our robot club. Some other side characters are going to be helping out, like the art club, and trying to find a way to get short girl motivated, and exploring around the school to find out how are they going to even go through this, and along with creating the storyboard. The most recent episode we watched, is all of that in motion. Is everything starting to stack up, and most presumably next episode, everything's gonna fall apart because shit's gonna start getting wonky. But yeah, they're making a fucking robot, a robot show, and I'm fucking happy about that.
Yes,
It's
they
so much
are.
fun.
And specifically, we're seeing a lot of stages of how it's never just one company doing a thing.
Yes, basically we've got proxies for like the client who wants to create a thing, and they have to have a voice in it. And now we're
Hmm.
outsourcing part of the animation to another company, and we have to like figure out how they work. They might not know all the tooling and all that jazz, so we have to like put them up to speed. One of the biggest conflicts and issues in this show or in this episode was Short Girl has to like find out how to like lead, despite her like social anxiety
Hmm.
and like her like squirreliness, I guess.
Yeah.
They put it very well, I think, or Salvo put it really well. She acts quirky and fun in order to mask her social anxiety.
You do what you have to do.
It's a defense mechanism.
Exactly. And specifically, she has to figure out a way of how to talk to somebody else about the ideas that she has in her head.
Yep.
Because she talked about earlier how she has all the ideas in her head for how the animation, like
The
the
action
fight
goes.
animation, is going to look.
Yeah.
And we're seeing with the art club that's not just the fight animation she has in her head, but it's the design of all of the cells and all of the backgrounds and everything, and like the setting. She has
Yeah.
all of this tucked away in her head, and so describing it to somebody else on top of her social anxiety, she's having a hard time communicating with the art club what her needs and expectations are in a way that they can understand and work with.
Mm-hmm.
Because the art club was looking for details like, what's this car doing? What does it look like? What color is it? Things like that.
Do we
And
even have
like,
to draw
why are
it?
there not people? Yeah,
Yeah.
like why are there not people walking around the school, or like even a security guard and things like that? And it was things that the art or the film club had decided for budgetary or time reasons that they just weren't going to be able to do, or for technical reasons they were going to do the car moving with actual animation cells, but communicating the way that your art medium works to somebody else who's not familiar with it and explaining to them, the decisions you've made in a way that they can understand and work with can be difficult. And I think they're starting to realize that.
Yeah. And
So we got them both having to with the robot club, take in the client side of how the client wants something to look, not how you want something to look, and doing it the client's way, not your way. And then with the art club, you were then outsourcing, and you had to come to a way of explaining to them, this is exactly what we need you to do in clear terms that they don't fuck it up later.
yeah. There's also the part where you try to manipulate the client to kind of do what you want to do, which is what Tall Girl was trying to do. Wherein she was trying to lead them in a certain direction. Because usually what the client will ask of you is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
They always want a lot, but they don't understand how much it fucking costs.
Yeah. Well, because to the client, until they have an actual dollar amount sitting in front of them, there's just a list of things that they want. And that's what we saw with the robot club with, we want to create a robot thing, but we haven't thought of all of the technical details of, it needs to be able to do this, it shouldn't be able to do that, things should be here but not there, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the responsibility of the film club in order to design and create this thing in a way that the client was, happy with. And so we saw over the multiple iterations that they had to draw up that getting even somebody in the robot club who should have, a technical idea of how this would work, getting them to produce a clear mission statement for, this is what we want the robot to do and look like, can be really fucking difficult. Like, even ignoring, this is how we have to design it for being able to animate it and have it look a certain way, have it be able to do things, just getting them to sit down and actually flesh out, okay, we want it to be able to,
What weapons does it have? Where's the
yeah,
fucking hatch? What's the face look like?
is it a combat thing? How does it see? Who controls it? How does it get power? Things like that.
Yeah.
So we had them playing
Stuff that Shoko's very into. Like, she's very much into, like, the nitty-gritty of, like, trying to make it as real as possible. Trying to make it as believable as possible. Which kind of comes back in the second episode. Where she basically has to restructure the insides. Because she doesn't believe that just kind of making this fantastical robot is good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where
And
we ended off, at least for her, this little part.
well, Short Girl also sort of has, after meeting the art club and going off adventuring by herself, she sort of has like kind of a breakdown
Yeah.
where she decides to just do away with the robot altogether and create a little hand cart and that you ride around on and shoot with a gun and stuff like that. And she draws up this quick little design for it and wants to do away with the robot thing. And you're kind of seeing like she has her artistic vision for how things should be, and she's not letting herself be constrained by the people who are more or less hiring them. Essentially, is how it works. Is how it's working, I should say.
Yeah. She wants to be satisfied with her own work. The key is her own work. It has to be hers.
Yeah.
And she's struggling with that currently.
Hmm.
Also, we found out that her backpack is full of just. She's like a doomsday prepper or some shit because she's got a bunch of goodies in there.
Yeah.
She's
Oh yeah,
got
that's right. They got trapped in the underground,
yeah.
didn't they?
She's got a tactical shovel. She's got like rope. She's got a bunny. She's got a stick, a Swiss Army knife that she puts in her socks.
Yeah.
All that jazz.
She's basically a Boy Scout, always prepared.
Yep. I guess that's why she carries on the camel backpack. It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Also, I wondered what type
It's,
of upbringing she had, wherein like she wanted to feel this, where she wanted to like have these things in order to be safe.
we saw like one shot of her early life in the very beginning of the show, but it was just her watching anime as a kid
Yeah.
at night during a rainstorm. That was all we really knew.
I liked how the rain was so bad they had to like close the windows with the metal bars, or not the metal bars, but
Oh yeah, they had like the metal sheet stuff that came up.
yeah, that's a really cool like little world building thing, which is interesting.
Yeah, the
Also,
rain gets so intense they need metal shutters against it.
apparently in the 1800s they had robots or like robot thingies that the robot club knew what a robot was because they show like the progression of the robot club's robot from the late 1800s up to like current. And there's also a reference to the Ava. I think the last one was a reference to the Avas.
We did have the second episode had like a whole bunch of basically like animation frames at one point as they were describing like
Yeah, how it's gonna
some of
move,
the
or like
shots.
yeah, how it's gonna yeah, exactly. I thought that was in I thought that was in the first one, where like
It was definitely in the second one too because I watched it today. I
okay,
remember watching it.
right, because this one she's like showing the storyboard, right, and
Yeah,
it kind of cuts to, um, like in progress animation of the robot like running, beating the shit out of the fucking turtle. It wasn't a turtle.
crab thing.
It was a turtle crab, a crab, a crabdle.
Sound
It
like
was a crabtle. That's what it was.
sound like John Madden creating the turducken. Hen.
Oh god, that's turducken. Don't my stomach's already queasy.
You shoved a chicken inside of the ass of a duck and then shoved that inside of the ass of a turkey and cooked the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a crab looking thing. I think the little kaiju looks pretty cool. It's very fun. Uh,
Yeah, they're like they create interesting little monsters for their stuff to work with.
hmm
I mean, they had the little like tank thing before that shot the nuclear bombs with so much force that it rolled itself over like a roly poly. And now we have the little crab thing with some sort of like I think it was a pistol crab and it had some sort of crazy like locking mechanism on its claw that let it like crunch with extra power or something.
It's the punch. Because
Yeah.
like the pistol crabs will punch, and the force is so like big that it causes a little shockwave.
Ah,
And I
okay.
think that does the same thing, but with like a pincer snap.
That makes sense then. I was wondering what they were going for with all of that. I was sort of confused, but that makes more
Yeah.
sense that it's a shockwave type attack.
And it's like the ant thing, where like if you made an ant the size of a human, would it have relative strength to it, or yeah, relative strength? So would
Yeah.
it like be able to pick up like 10 tons or some shit? Much like Krieger in that one episode. What are you going for, Krieger? Relative strength, strength relative to an ant? No.
Yeah.
Is it yeah?
I think he sadly says. I forget what he sadly says. He either says yes or no. I don't remember.
Yeah, he just says
I
a
just
sad yes or just a no. That's
His character, I could believe, does either.
because he's
Because
done
there are definitely
either in
times,
basically every single episode.
yeah, there are definitely moments where he does the no, and then there are definitely other moments where he just has the sad, yeah.
And in fact, it could also be in the same scene where he says no, pauses, and then says yes again.
It very could possibly be, yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So our girls are currently creating the animation for this. Another part that's very important in the second episode was we have to figure out sound effects. We need sound effects because now our animation is gonna have sound. So we have to figure out how the fuck we're gonna do that. Because right now the only sounds they have are like royalty-free oingo boingo sounds.
Yeah.
Boing.
Very like Looney Tunes sounds.
Basically. Luckily for them, because their school's rich apparently, they have 4 fucking rooms of just sound effects that this kid just
Yeah.
squats in.
It's very a bizarrely designed school where like their clubs are they sort of remind me of the clubs in uh Kill la Kill, where like the clubs are all like super intense and they do like crazy shit. Except for obviously in Kill la Kill, they all had like superpowers and junk. But in this, like, you still have the clubs are just fucking weird. Like, there's no way that any sound engineering club would have 4 rooms of
Just
random
yeah.
recordings of sound effects from all over the place.
Also, apparently some that are like rare.
I guess, yeah.
But the way we enlist his help is by basically forcing him to listen to the sound effects that these girls have to use, and that like triggers something in him. He's like, "No, don't," and then he throws up.
Yeah. Because you can't deal with the cartoonish sound effects layered over top of the mech animation that they have already done up.
That and also the fact that they have only one walk sound. So the short girl gets on the fake treadmill and so just starts walking over the different material, and it's just the same sound, and it starts to resonate in his head. He's like, "No, stop, stop! This is torture."
And it slowly gets worse as time goes on because not only is it walking over different materials, but it also we start to see like
Mud,
that they're wearing different
different
shoes as
shoes, different.
well. So they have like straw shoes over stone, and then it's like rubber boots over mud and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Where it should sound way different than just a hard soled shoe, but they all sound the same, and it starts to drive him insane until he has to help. Also, they blackmail him.
yeah. There's also that. There's always some blackmail in these cases.
Yeah. So
Talk
he gets some of their storage space because the film club is a legitimate recognized club, so I guess they get storage space somewhere.
they've got their own little like thing. They've the room.
But they like talked about like they had 2 rooms and a basement.
Oh right, because they showed it off in this episode where short girl just appears from like the top balcony in the
Hmm.
thing. And they showed like
Yeah.
the route she took. The that little like outhouse thing is connected to the other one.
Okay, so that was their like storage thing.
Yeah, I think that's their
That like
storage.
side.
Yeah,
Okay.
the one that's connected also to the wind turbine.
Hmm.
We-
All right.
yeah, we got setup and payoff here, bro.
We did.
They know how to do it. But now we've got a new member, not a new film member, but we've got a new helper who'll be working intensely with them because now he or she, I don't know, is their
I couldn't really tell.
sound person.
Uh-huh. And we have 2 members of the art club.
2 members of the art club, but I assume they're like side characters that are just gonna like do stuff. They're just gonna be workhorses that we don't really talk to too much.
Maybe.
And then we've got their new best friend, the president of the robot club, who through his sheer love of robot anime is able to convince model girl and short girl that they're on the same side.
Yeah. They're also apparently creating an opening for this
Yes, and
that they will incorporate into the animation somehow.
yeah,
That remains to be seen.
that's a lot of work.
Yeah. The show continues to sort of like tacitly glorify all of this, and I continue to sort of have conflicting feelings about all of this. Because like this latest episode started out with them talking about like they had a really intense schedule that they basically couldn't keep to just on like an after school club amount of time.
Right, and now they're talking about how like working at home or staying.
Yeah. And like they're getting a computer in the club rooms, they could do more, which means that the model girl, is going to do like extra work on her tablet at home so that she can be ready when she comes into the club. And like,
To be fair, getting a computer in the club room is probably a smart idea.
it is, you're right.
Yeah.
But it just continues to be a show where like there are just some elements of it that I can't feel like I feel weird, you know, listening to this and thinking too hard about it and kind of saying like this feels like you're glorifying extortion basically, and I don't love it.
You kind of have to keep it in the back of your head a little bit.
Yeah,
Because right now they are just like very enthusiastic high school kids.
I know, but like it still just feels like it's glorifying that way too much. And like looking at it from a frame of like, if you want to do this seriously, this is how much effort and like willpower you have to put into this. And I'm like, I don't know if I love that as a mindset for this.
This is also true. It's yeah, it's a very strange predicament, very strange situation.
Yeah,
But at least it's nice. It,
I
it,
mean,
it
yeah, the
yeah.
show's really good.
If you just ignore that stuff,
Yeah, outside
don't
of
let
the
the
small
don't
moments,
let the darkness take over. It's a very very fun show.
it is.
Very motivational as well. Gets you up and going, and then you get tired and just sit back down and watch more anime.
That's more my speed. Why bother standing up if I know I'm just gonna sit back down? Just sit forever.
But yeah, that's Eizouken, or keep your hands off Eizouken. I don't know the Japanese for it, but whatever.
Yeah. I still also don't know why it has the keep your hands off of part of the title. Just call it Aizoken and call it a day.
Well, the whole full title is, I think in Japanese the full title is "Keep Your Hands Off the Film Club."
I
But
mean, yeah, but I don't know why. Like, it's not like anybody's threatening the film club right now. They're recognized by their student council and have funding.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's a title.
I thought they were going to be more like a fringe rogue society, which is why they were going to be like, keep your hands off the film club, was going to be like them versus the machine.
It could
But
also
yeah,
be so other clubs have already seen like that they don't really want to work with the film club because they've got a bad reputation. So it might mean it in that sense, like don't work with them, like be wary of them because they're going to extort you and blackmail you.
that's very possible.
Up next, we got Hanako-kun, Toilet Bound Hanako-kun,
Hmm.
um, wherein our episode's kind of split in two. First half is kind of a little short story about the confession tree, and our second half, is starting to build up this bigger arc or the next baddie, and that is like the green-haired girl who may or may not have like a dark Hanako-kun as his partner, or as her partner.
Yeah.
Who knows? We sure shit saw
I was
like a.
kind of
Go ahead.
I was kind of annoyed by that at the end of this episode, was because like they sort of implied earlier in the episode the whole like, is your Hanako also needy and whatever else she said, and like it implied that there was that there was a Hanako that was hanging out with the green-haired girl and possibly another one, because she said is yours, implying multiple.
Yeah.
And like it was a cool thing of like, maybe there's gonna be two of them, they could do some like body swapping stuff and try and mess with us, and then we get to the end of the episode and there's possibly a dark version of him, and I'm kind of like, I mean,
It
it's
could.
cool to see, but I wanted them to play with it a little bit more before you revealed it.
It could still be like that. Each girl has like their own Hanako-kun. Not each girl, but like each girl who's partnered with him. Like each of them are different, tailored to them for
Uh-huh.
whatever reason.
That would be interesting.
But I don't think that's the case. Given that like the ending has like the light and dark motifs, I think it's just a
Uh-huh.
light Hanako and then a dark Hanako, and that's it.
Yeah, probably.
But I want to start off talking about the first half of this episode, which is the confession tree, because that
Okay.
ending actually kind of made me sad for her. It was legitimately really sad.
So yeah, the confession tree basically is if you confess to somebody,
Under the
your
tree.
confession under the tree, your confession will always work out.
Yes.
The tree will make you fall in love,
Regardless of
and
whether or not you actually like the person or not, you just have to confess to them,
yeah,
even if it's fake.
yeah. Even if it's fake, even if you're pretending that it's somebody else, it still just works with the two people standing under the tree. If it doesn't even matter if they say no, apparently. The tree will make you two fall in love, and it will make your love work out. But obviously, you can't just make two people fall in love who aren't actually in love. That's messed up and a little date rapey. So Hanako has to step in. The problem comes with the fact that he asks Nene to come out to the confession tree with him after school. She thinks it's going to be a romance thing, but it's
Yeah,
actually just a hunt down the rogue rumor thing.
this entire first half, we were building up the fact that Nene thinks that Hanako likes her because Hanako kissed her on the cheek, which we find out
Mhm.
later on was actually just a little seal to keep her safe. And she's talking with Aoi, and Aoi's like, "Yeah, bro, she totally fucking likes you. Go for it. Um, it's okay to love a ghost." So she's like full on ready for the confession, and then Hanako like, Hanako actually says, "I love you. Go out with me." And then he's kind of flustered, and then we cut back to Hanako, who's like, "Hurry, just say no. Hurry up. I'm trying to do a thing here."
Yeah,
And all her
there's a
dreams are
point to this.
destroyed.
Yeah.
I was half expecting him to like turn around and just rev a fucking chainsaw when she came by, because I wanted.
You were expecting him to whip out a chainsaw.
Yeah, so like she comes by ready for the confession, and he just turns around, revs the chainsaw, and says, "Let's go. Let's chop this fucking tree down."
I mean, I could see it being an axe. If he whipped out a chainsaw, I would be shook.
Realistically, he cut it down with his knife. Like just like that's his weapon of choice, is the little fucking knife.
Yeah. Which I'm sure that once we see Dark Hanako again, we'll find out more about his little kitchen knife. But yeah,
Yeah.
he stabs a tree in the face, and it turns into a little tiny tree.
Called the
So it
Kodama.
stops. Yeah, called the Kodama. And he basically tells it to stop causing shit to go down with the kids. And I don't know, the Kodama leaves, I guess, or goes and plants itself somewhere else.
I
I don't
think
really
it
know what
just stays
happens to it.
there
It probably just stays there.
because they're trying to figure out another rumor for the Kodama in order to have it,
Mhm.
stay alive. And
Oh yeah.
they mention Misaki, how they also need a rumor for her so that she doesn't like disappear.
Yeah.
But right after this, like this last part is basically Nene's actually legitimately upset because she actually thought someone liked her, and she starts crying. Yeah, that was a little sad. I was like, ah. And then,
I mean, yeah, it was. She built it up in her mind as like the first time that somebody actually loved her, even if it wasn't like her type, as she keeps saying.
yeah.
Like it was somebody who cared about her, and she thought everything was great, and finally somebody loved her, which is all that she's ever wanted, and she finds out it's fake. I mean, for a 15-year-old girl, I could understand how that's a little bit soul crushing.
Also, for like a very comedic show, I wasn't expecting that.
I mean, it's not super comedic. It has
It's not.
comedic elements, but it does
It
also have
does.
serious elements.
That's very true. This in particular just caught me off guard because this felt like more like a comedic chapter of the
Uh huh.
manga, so I wasn't expecting it to kind of go in that direction. But by the end of it, she Hanako like comforts her, says, "I do care about you, like as a friend," and blah blah. And that kind of reverses Hanako's thinking and realizes that she, despite the fact that she actually thinks of Hanako as a friend, she also needs to like find out more about him. She this is the start of her being interested in like who he was and like what happened to him,
Uh huh.
which leads her to the fourth, I believe,
Fifth.
fifth wonder of the school, which is the mystical library that Aoi talks to her about in the next half. And that's where she meets the green-haired girl, who kind of, I think, gives her a book, a black book, something about Hanako. But there's probably something about Hanako in the book, but we haven't found out yet. And she's like kind of menacing and a little weird.
And specifically, the green-haired girl is the one who tells her, "Go visit the Fifth Wonder." She then goes talk to Aoi about it and finds out that it's the after-school library, which you can only walk into after 4 p.m., I think, or at 4.
Yes, at 4 p.m.
And it contains a book that records the past, present, and future of all of the students who are attending the school or who have ever attended the school. And the books come in basically 3 flavors: white for alive students, black for dead students, and red for we don't know students.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
But if you read it, bad things are going to happen, and you should never read any book in red.
Yep. Also, we found out that Aoi is the girl from the radio.
Is it Aoi?
I think it's Aoi.
Did we find that out?
Oh, sorry. I guess we didn't find that out, but I believe there's enough evidence that suggests that she is the girl from the radio. Because as she's talking, like it switches to like the radio staticky voice during the explanation of what the stairs do, or not the stairs, but the library does. So I'm pretty sure it's her. Also, she
Uh,
seems to be in the know about all the rumors at school, so
yeah, it's
there's
true.
also that.
But I mean, they are the seven wonders of the school, so I figure everyone is in the know except for Nene.
But
Everyone's in the know
she
about the
also knew about the
wonders.
Kodama. Not that it was a Kodama, but the confession tree.
The confession tree,
Yeah.
that's true.
But then again, I think everyone knew about that except for
Yeah,
Nene.
yeah.
No one talks to this girl.
Pretty much Ao is the only person we've ever seen talk to this girl. It's Aoi, Sunwoo, not Sun Wukong, and Hanako. That's it. Those are the sum total of people who talk to Nene.
This is true. Yes. But yeah, I wonder what's up next for our Nene and our Hanako.
Yeah.
We're gonna see Dark
We
Hanako,
have the green-haired girl, and we also have that other dude.
who's like I think an exerciser. Is that the
Very
right?
possibly. He does have the same look, like the same sort of style as
As
the
Natsumu
Exorcist.
Kong and his big brother.
Yeah. So I could believe that he will also turn out to be some sort of ghost exorcist, but I
Exorcist.
wasn't
That's what
really
it
paying
was.
attention to see if he had one of those, like, it's an exorcist item disguised as a regular item sort of thing, like Sun Wukong and his staff
Yeah.
umbrella.
And then the other dude as with just the sword.
He just has a sword.
Yeah. I think this is
That's
the first time we've
funny.
seen him with a sword though.
I think it is. I don't know how he walked all the way to the roof with that sword on his hip and nobody noticed.
He was like doing a duck walk because the sword was in his pants.
It was actually just strapped to the inside of his leg.
Don't worry, ladies. There's nothing down here.
This is my third leg.
So yeah, we'll find out what's gonna happen. Is there anything you want to talk about specifically about toilet bound Hanako-kun?
Not particularly.
Oh, green haired girl does call Hanako san, because she knows a different type of Hanako. Probably someone who's a bit darker and meaner.
Possibly. I don't know a lot about the Japanese honorifics culture. So it could just be she has a different relationship with her Hanako.
Oh, this is also true. I am mostly making shit up because I have no idea about these honorifics either. I only know what I know from anime, and that's probably completely wrong.
Because if I remember correctly, Nene was also calling Hanako with a different ending thing in the first episode.
Hanako-chan, because she didn't know she was a girl, I think.
Yeah,
And then Hanako's like, call me Hanako-kun. He's like, okay.
because I'm a dude. Even though I live in the girls' bathroom.
Yeah, we still don't know about that. Also, like, when in the book, I think it was a girl too.
It was in one of the books she was looking at.
My guess is that Hanako was a girl, but the Hanako we know, the ghost, isn't actually
Uh-huh.
the real Hanako. He switched places with the girl so that he would die instead of the girl.
Huh.
I just made that up right now. I actually don't know if that's true, but we'll see.
That would be a
Boom.
weird,
Locking it
yeah,
in.
a weird system. We'll see. I
There was a
really do feel
switcheroo.
like he will have killed somebody.
He probably did kill somebody, but I still think there was a switcheroo at some point.
We'll see.
Yes, we will see. Gotta hope I'm right, because that'd be the coolest fucking guess ever.
I'd rather take the field rather than the specific on this one. You can have the switcheroo. I will take everything else.
You can't call everything else. I call any twist that happens in any of the fucking stories.
That's not how this works. You take one side, I take the field. That's how this works.
That's
I'm basically the house.
I thought you were supposed to like take something else.
Not if you're the house.
Whatever. Anyways, yeah, I think there's a switcheroo, but we'll find out what happened. Oh, maybe the other Hanako, the dark one, is actually the girl, and she wakes up in the boys' bathroom.
That would make a little bit more sense. Is if there was, yeah. I mean, I feel like they're going to be like basically twinsies,
Yeah, I think they're twinsies.
identical in every way except for their little ghost spirit things. But it would be an interesting twist if it was the female Hanako in the boys' bathroom.
Well, we'll see. Am I allowed to take another that other guess? If you have the field?
Sure.
Cool. Boom. Locking those two in.
But that aside, we can move on to our final show of the night with, help me out, Somali.
Somali and the forest spirit.
There we go.
This episode was danger, danger, stranger danger.
Yeah, it was basically just one gigantic alarm bell that just slowly went off in your mind as you just waited for the bad times to come.
Yeah. Uh, uh
Because
th-
we
th-
start off with little carriage
yes.
ride. We learn basically what we know about the desert, that it's hot as fuck. We get to a town
Yeah,
where
doesn't
we meet
suck.
the other two characters. And almost immediately, the Harpy girl cues into the fact that something is different with Somali,
Mm-hmm.
and she very clearly suspects that everything is not the way it seems. And a few, after Somali and the Golem go off to their room, and our two new characters talk to each other, we find out that the Harpy is traveling with another human, and she suspects that Somali is also human.
Yep. The human is disguised as a falcon head, I think that they're called, who are just
Something like that, yeah.
monsters with a falcon face. Um, at first, like when I saw the characters, I was wondering why the guy was wearing a mask. Until like we were supposed to believe that it was his real face, and then he takes it off and it's an actual mask. You weren't here, but I would have called it. Ah, damn.
I mean, it was really obvious. I knew
Yeah.
that too, because his mouth didn't move. As soon as his mouth didn't move when he talked, I was like, that's not a real person. That's not a real face.
Right, but like it's also a monster, so like maybe it didn't work that way, anyways.
I mean, still, though, like, just. There was
Anyways,
just something
the
not
the
right
more
about it as
important
soon as
part
he
is
said
that
it.
he has bird AIDS.
Yeah.
Straight up like bird flu virus thing.
Bird face. Yeah. Bird face infection.
He's got like feather throat, where like
And
his
eye.
yeah. I wonder like how he got it. I think we're gonna figure out, or we're gonna find that out in the next episode. But basically, he's got this disease where he's got like feathers growing out of his face, and whenever he coughs up, there's also feathers in his cough. So I assume like there's something going on with his like internal system where it also is growing feathers. There's some weird shit going on.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's cursed.
yeah, there's some really bad stuff going on. But he's
Yeah.
traveling with the harpy. We find out the harpy had lost her mother when she was young. Because of their culture, she doesn't know her father. Um, and Haitore, I think, is the guy's name. Is kind of like her pseudo guardian type person who maybe she has a thing for. Well, we know that she loves him in some way.
Yeah. In
Um,
some sort of like, we protect each other sort of way.
yeah. Um, and she gets into that with Somali, where they're both talking about how they both love, their partner. Somali really likes her dad because it's Somali's dad. Um, and despite the fact that he is not really, the golem's not really her father. The harpy's trying to wrap her head around it, like trying to wrap her head that this girl actually legitimately believes and feels like the golem is her dad. And
Mhm.
the reason that's important is because she's starting to feel bad about what she's about to do, and she wants to strangle a child.
Yeah. Specifically, she wants to bleed a child,
Yes. Oh,
exsanguinate Somali, and presumably feed her blood to Hattori
yes, because I
to
guess
cure him of the bird flu.
yeah. And this actually reminds me of something. Do you know where the term thug comes from?
The term thug?
Yes, thug.
I do not.
It is. So there was a clan slash like group in India called the Thuggy,
Okay.
and they were basically highwaymen. They would accost travelers, and they would strangle them. Specifically, strangle them because at some point they became a Kali cult where they treasured human blood to feed the Kali, so they couldn't kill any person other than strangling them, because otherwise they would basically be spoiling their blood.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the Thuggy is where the term thug also comes from. So
There you go.
fun little fact. But yeah,
I doubt that's why she's doing this,
yeah,
because, you know,
she's just doing this
everybody
because she
who's a
wants to
monster
spoil blood.
hates humans, and yeah, she just wants the human blood to cure her friend.
Although it doesn't seem like she hates humans, because she does have like she's very conflicted. I feel
Yeah,
because she
that
actually
is a good point.
is like starting to care about her, because they both have very similar stories,
Hmm.
so she's starting to empathize, and she like doesn't. She kind of like would rather not kill the kid, but like she has to because she wants to save her best friend.
Yeah.
And Hitora is not really into it. Like he'd rather have Somali live and not die.
Yeah.
And
I
as of
mean, to be fair, I feel like most people would generally look at it as like, let's not
yeah, let's
kill
not
this
kill the
kid
kid.
just so I can not die. Feel like that's a little bit, yeah. I would not be thrilled with that as my only two options.
I think it was a monster that the monster would be like, yeah, let's eat it afterwards. Um,
Exactly, yeah. Because the monsters clearly have like a general disrespect for like human lives.
and also like
Although,
think of it as food too.
yeah, and it's like kind of weird. I'm sure that next episode we'll find out more about the backstory of our Harpy and Hattori, but it is weird they're traveling together because they don't have, the golem is very uh, like it doesn't have basically like any uh connection to like the whole backstory of the monsters versus the humans. Like
Yeah, he was
that
just in the
feels
woods
it feels like
probably.
golems are like a separate entity altogether.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were just chilling in the woods, hanging out with the forest animals, and like they,
Yeah,
they have no skin in the game.
exactly. So when the golem found Somali, he just didn't have any feeling of like I'm going to kill this child and eat it. It was just sort of this is a lost thing. I have to deal with this. And
Yes.
over time, more feelings have grown and all of that. And now he protects her from all the other monsters. Whereas we'll see if the harpy has some reason why she has developed, feelings other than I want to kill and eat this human for Hattori and why that sort of
I don't think she
occurred.
wants to eat it. I think she, for some reason, she believes that the blood will cure her friend.
Yeah. But like why she doesn't because we saw some of the other
Oh,
monsters with
right.
their whole like we went on human hunts and ate them and all that
Right,
stuff.
but she
Like
doesn't really like feel that way. She's only killing the kid to save her friend. Otherwise, it
yeah,
doesn't
but I'm
really
sure
seem like
next
she'd
episode we'll find
care.
out why she feels that way.
It
Why
definitely
she
has
doesn't care about the
it.
humans.
Well, yeah, because she is traveling with Tori. I think it has something to do with her parents. I think Hattori is actually her dad.
You
That's why
think?
he's got the bird flu.
Because he banged a
He
bird,
banged a bird
got the bird
because she
flu.
doesn't know who her dad is, and that was kind of something important. I feel like so maybe like he is. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. It only came up in one scene, so I wouldn't say it's important yet.
Okay, that's very true. It's also possible that. Well, that's actually as of right now, it's my only theory. I'm not sure why else. Do you have any insights or guesses as to why they're traveling together?
Uh,
Why she even cares about him?
I assume something happened with her like harpy tribe, and I guess he
You
was
know
like
what?
the last one left.
He may have helped
Maybe
her
they had like
out,
a plague.
right? And he like helped them. That's why he's being
Yeah,
affected right now by the or afflicted by the
the
bird
harpy
flu.
plague.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that could be what it is. Although she doesn't seem like she's afraid of catching it.
Oh yeah, that would kind of throw a little wrench into the to that theory.
Yeah. Although maybe she has like super resistant blood for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
yeah. Maybe she's just immune. That's why she's the only one
Yeah.
alive. Maybe he found out like some sort of cure, cured her, but wasn't able to cure the others. Hmm. But he doesn't seem like a doctor though. Very
Maybe
strange.
he had to like inject his blood into her. Maybe they did some sort of like blood pact thing where like he shoved his blood into her body so that she could survive, but now he got the bird flu because of it.
That's why they need human blood to fix him.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that theory. Well, yeah, definitely interesting. Uh, I also like the town they like stopped by. Very like square and interesting. All the little
Oh,
towns they
the
stop
the
by.
volcano caldera
Oh,
town.
that too, yeah. The world building in this show is just very nice. Like it's they don't get too into it, but like they like to show you around for a little bit and then they move on.
Mhm.
But it's all really fun. They all seem so alive.
Yeah. And despite being like two desert towns in a row, they both sort of had their own personality.
Yeah, they had their own thing. Like one felt like kind of like this gateway city. Another one felt like a big like traders market.
Yeah. And like this one, we saw a whole bunch of like open air hot springs because they're on top of, like a ex volcano, so
Mm-hmm.
it's still got like some natural heat
It's
to it.
nice and warm.
Versus the other one felt a little bit more like classical deserty,
But there's also
very like.
there's also sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, I don't care.
Oh.
It's just an architecture thing I was going to talk about.
There's also the oh my god, I can't think of the word. Like the tradition of like having a drink before you leave. So like those little small things that kind of like build up over time.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about anything else you'd like to talk about regarding Somali and the forest spirit?
Um, for some reason, when we started out this episode, I just had the feeling that we were going to have an episode of like the next thing, the next major conflict was going to include like crazy protective golem,
Ah,
because I feel like we really haven't seen him like full on Hulk out basically, and so I just felt like it was coming down the pipe. So I'm kind of expecting that because Somali is now facing off against some sort of transformed harpy girl, the golem is going to come, you know, smashing through the wall with his one gigantic Sauron eye out,
we
here to protect Somali.
we
So I
did
kind
kind of get that with the last arc though, where his overbearingness kind of makes severs his relationship with Somali.
well, yeah, but I more meant like in like a fighty way.
Oh, okay.
I'm expecting him to show up and like bust heads, basically.
Declare fisticuffs, a duel,
Exactly.
possibly.
Come in and bare knuckle box somebody.
I wonder what he's gonna do to the harpy. If he's like legitimately gonna like try to like rip her wings off for forgive her.
He's gonna look at her with his one Sauron eye and look deep into her soul and say
I
something that will crush her
see
spirit.
you. Your friend's gonna die, and it's all your fault.
Your feathers aren't that lustrous. How could you? But
We'll
yeah,
see.
we'll see. We'll see if his Sauron eye has combat capabilities or if he's just gonna be a gigantic ceramic walking tank and not actually break out his Sauron eye.
What setting do you think we'll see next? Because we've been to like a foresty area, we've been to the desert. My guess would be a like a coastline.
Um, huh. I would say the mountains.
Mountains. Okay.
Yeah. I think we're gonna go into like some snowy mountains.
Oh yeah, a colder climate. I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. We'll see what's next. Well, we won't see next episode, but we'll probably see the episode after that.
Yeah.
Next episode is going to be the resolution. I assume the resolution of the harpy trying to kill our sweet little Somali, and then Hitori probably is going to die.
And we're probably gonna get the backstory of the Harpy and Hattori.
That as well, yeah.
Oh, hopefully.
But yeah, that was Somali. Um, this episode we actually didn't get a reminder that our best little golem dad's gonna die in a year and a half.
Yeah.
Mostly because we're dealing with the fact that another dad is gonna die in tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm sure that's gonna come up tomorrow as Bird Dad dies. He's gonna look at Golem Dad and be like, "This will be you next."
Oh my god, he is gonna say that.
Today me, tomorrow you.
Keep that promise to that little girl. Well, you won't keep that promise. Okay, we'll see. What would you like to sell out to today, Nick? I assume some lodges of some kind.
I was absolutely going to sell out to Hall's cherry flavored throat lozenges, of which I have consumed several today.
Mm.
They are the only thing keeping me going right now.
Don't worry, because
As my
tomorrow's
voice
gonna
has
suck even more.
definitely fucking degenerated over the course of this. I can feel it.
Yeah, talking is not the best thing to do when your throat is destroying
Yeah.
itself.
Also, my like jaw muscles are slowly locking up
Well,
on both sides of my face, so like it's really getting worse for me as I talk.
well, we should
But
finish
shout
this as
out
fast
to
as
you
possible.
all for fucking making this possible.
What type? What flavor do you use? Eat
Cherry.
cherry? I usually have lemon tea. Lemon? No, honey.
I
Honey.
the lemon. Okay, they do like a lemon tea type thing, but the flavor of it reminds me too much of this stuff called Theraflu, which my
Mm.
parents always used to force me to drink whenever I got sick when I was a child. And holy shit, that stuff is fucking disgusting, and I wanted to puke every
Yeah.
single time they made me drink it. It was. I've always believed they were using it as a deterrent, so I never pretended to be sick and
Yeah.
tried to skip school that way. But I guess it is actually effective because The last time my mom got sick, she actually made a cup of Theraflu for herself and drank it.
Wait, made a cup?
Yeah,
Oh, is it like some sort of tea type thing?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like a medicinal tea type deal.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, I could definitely see how lemon would taste like that because they do try to add like probably that try to add like lemon zest or not lemon zest, but a lemon taste to it, so
Yeah.
it's easier to take down.
Yes, they definitely tried to layer some sort of like citrusy lemon honey type deal on top of the flavor of the Theraflu. It did not work.
I
That
know.
that shit tasted like hot wet ass.
Ugh, it tastes like the bag it came in.
Yeah, basically, it was not good.
I know a good like little home remedy is warm water with salt and you gargle it.
That's just for throat pain, right?
Throat scratching his throat. It helps your throat open up a bit. It helps with an inflamed throat.
Okay.
Also, some honey, a little lemon, always nice. Lubricates your throat.
So I think the Theraflu was actually like medicinal, so like it was actually supposed to help you like fight the cold, basically.
Yeah. For the water, the salty water, just to like not feel it, not feel as bad. You're
Yeah.
still sick.
Your body still feels like everywhere else feels like garbage, but your throat is okay.
To be fair, that's like my worst thing. Is like I just want my throat to feel okay because like when I'm eating, it makes it harder to eat because it just feels weird.
Yeah.
Well,
I always had the problem with drinking. I feel like anytime I get sick, my taste buds for liquid change significantly. So everything that I drink just tastes funky.
oh, for me, it just tastes blander because like my nose is covered up, so like I can't completely taste something.
Mostly, I think the problem is that I drink the same lemonade made the same way every single day.
Oh,
I drink the same sugar-free Crystal Light lemonade mixed half and half with water all the time, like constantly when I'm at home. So like if it tastes different than the way that I'm very used to it tasting, because I've been drinking it for like 4 years now, if it tastes significantly different, my body is like, this isn't right. This isn't what we usually drink. This is wrong.
well,
So it always fucks with my head.
there we go.
But yeah, shout out to you, Halls. We got distracted talking about Theraflu. Thank God that you're not Theraflu and you actually taste good and you
Yeah,
help.
fuck
Uh,
Theraflu. That's our
Reverse
seasonal
shout out.
reverse shout out. Yeah, fuck Theraflu.
Fuck
Uh,
Theraflu.
I'm gonna sell out to the Hinamatsuri. I recently got the first volume in physical. And I've been reading it, and I found out that the third chapter was not adapted
Adapted?
in the anime. Yeah,
Wow, the third
the
chapter?
third chapter. Yep, because the first two chapters are the first episode, and
Uh-huh.
then the second chapter begins with the introduction of this one bartender. Um, but in between it, there's actually a chapter which is Hina's first day, or not first day, but one of Hina's days at school, where a bank robber shows up to their class because he's running away from the yakuza,
Okay.
and he held them all of the kids hostage. And then what ends up happening is because Hina's such a little fucking brat, she just starts saying "I'm hungry" over and over again, which pisses off the robber so much that they just start eating in class.
Okay.
And then the teacher comes up with a fun little assignment for the class. Let's find out whether the bank robber's guilty or not. So when our main character's brother Yakuza comes in, the teacher's teaching about the justice system and has pros and cons for putting the bank robber in jail up on the board.
There are no words.
It's a wonderful little story. I love Hinamatsuri so much. It's just so bizarre. I can't describe how much I love it. Hina's such a
There's
little
no
shit.
words.
Hina is such a little shit. It's the best thing ever. Yeah, Hinamatsuri.
So,
I love you.
yeah. Shout out to Hino Matsuri. Shout out again to Halls. Thank you for joining us for another episode of ABC. I've been one half of your hosts, Nick.
I've been the other half, Brandon. Yay!
Hey, we might be back next week, or I might be dead.